Alright folks, we're going to do some test hands with Simorgh, and you'll see some of its strengths and some of its weaknesses. The weaknesses are, it's kind of reliant on your normal summon and some of the searchers and field spells, so let's give it a go. Not great. Not great at all. Actually, that's as bad as it gets. If you normal summon that, you really don't have a way to... You get an extra normal summon, but there's no way to actually reduce the cost of these. So you could set your Harpies Featherstorm and hope your opponent passes, but you got an Ash to prevent the search, but that's all that is. So let's move on. Luckily, Harpies Featherstorm is such a busted card, it could actually cause your opponent to pass turn if they're playing something like Thunder Dragons. That's a little nicer. We'll do Pot of Extravagance, banish 6 cards from the extra deck. This might matter, so we'll just go ahead and shuffle that a little bit. And we'll just banish the top 6. And we'll draw 2 cards. What are the odds? So we can start off by normal summoning the bird and use the effect. We want to search. Since we don't have any of the other Simorghs in our hands, we want to get Onslaught so we can maximize our graveyard setup and get the larger birds. We'll activate Onslaught by discarding Calamity. So that'll let us search Big Bird and Small Bird. It's going to be a little bit of a minimalistic play, but it is what it is. We can link away this bird for... So that's what we banished. So that means we can do Mirage. These two will special summon. We can link those two away. Because we have to summon a Winged Beast monster, we can do Harpies Conductor. Unfortunately, we won't be able to tribute because we don't have... Since we have to go into Mirage, we can't really tribute into... Or we can't link away into the bird, into High Speed Roid, because it has to be... Once you special summon from the graveyard, you can't bring a Hot Speed Roid. So we'll have to set the Harpies Featherstorm and the Twin Twisters and the Call by the Grave. So at this point, you just have a minimalistic board, but you have at least some sort of protection. And the next turn with Simorgh of Beginning and Darkness in hand, you'll be able to go off from there. Plus we drew an extra Extravagance, so that'll help us out. Not the greatest board, but it can shut down a lot of the strategies. Alright, we're going to rely on Extravagance here, so let's activate that. We'll banish 6. Draw 2 cards. Sometimes you just wonder if the deck likes you or not when you're drawing an extra Extravagance. Terraforming. Get the field spell. And I actually don't have another monster, actually. So I can't use Featherstorm, and I can't use Dark Simorgh, because I need another one. Brick. Sad to say. Moving on. You can see one of the main problems with this deck. It really is reliant on having one of the starting Simorgh monsters and that spell that lets you add 2 to the hand, it's one of the main weaknesses of this deck. It's very fair. A lot of trading resources for other resources to set up combos, but that fairness doesn't help it too much. And you rely on power cards like Featherstorm and your side deck cards in future games to really get you what you want. Alright, so we have 2 birds, so we're going to use Onslaught, discarding Bird of Beginning. And that'll search us. We can get Bringing and Darkness. Bringing will will normal summon that, and we'll get the field spell. And again, discarding the smaller birds for cost is very effective. So with that on the board, the field spell, we can now special summon Beginning. We can link away the 2 of them. Actually, we might want to just use the effect of the field spell. So we'll just go ahead and tribute summon. We'll use Bird of Beginning so we can special summon it, and we'll get Darkness Simorgh out. Simorgh of Darkness, and this will allow us to special summon the other one out from the graveyard. So at least that way we have some fodder. Set the Twin Twisters, and now we have a board of the field spell and 2 tribute fodders, Ash in hand, and the Twin Twisters with the field spell. So decent enough. The problem with having to use the Simorgh's Graveyard's effect in graveyard, it really locks you out of the extra deck for most of your options, because you have to stick to Wing Beasts. So we can't bring out High Speed Rubber Band. You really need to go into that first, but it becomes a little more difficult. That's a lot better. That is a whole lot better. Normal summon that, and this will add us Onslaught. So now we have the field spell. You really want to see the 2 cards, Bird of Bringing and the field spell. That'll give you the maximum potential for your main deck combo. So we'll add that to hand. We'll activate the field spell. We'll activate Simorgh Onslaught, discarding the Simorgh of Darkness, which will let us add the bigger Wind Bird, which you need to reveal. And we'll add a dark one. We'll add Simorgh, Dark Simorgh. So now we can use the effect of the field spell to reveal the level 5 or higher. Now we only need 1 tribute. We can go ahead and link that away. This will let us bring out Amirage. Amirage is a good protection, so you have that. Special summon the weaker one. This will allow us to, and now using the effect of the field spell, we contribute that. Bring out the Lord of the Storm, which will automatically special summon Simorgh of Darkness. And we have Featherstorm in hand. So, and Call by the Grave as well. So we have a disruption for the opponent, we have a way to lock them out, and we have a spell trap bounce and negate and a bounce on boards, and Amirage on protection. So that's a pretty good board right there. We'll do 1 more. Hopefully get something desirable. Going second, there's some cards you do want to see. Twin Twisters, if you're siding out Super Polys and such. There's a tech card that I want to try out, but I haven't tested it. It's Danger Thunderbird, since it is a Darkwing Beast, and it's level 8. Not sure how good that would be, because discarding, yes, you don't lose too much from the monsters, because they can bring themselves out from the graveyard, but sometimes you want to normal summon them, and again, this deck is heavily normal summon reliant. Not a bad hand, not the greatest. So we're going to use the field spell, and we're going to use Simorgh Onslaught, and we'll discard the Darkness Simorgh, and we'll search ourselves Bird of Beginning, and where the hell is he? Dark Simorgh. We want a normal summon Bird of Beginning, and this will let us add the Lord of the Storm. We're going to need Lord of the Storm for the field spell to proc it. We'll reveal it for the field spell effect to cut down the tribute cost. And then we will link that away into Ammirage. It's pretty much the same board that we had last time. The effect will special summon itself back onto the field, and then thanks to the field spell, we'll be able to create another extra normal summon, which will give us Storm, and then Darkness Simorgh will special summon itself out from the graveyard. And then we have a Call by the Grave. So not as glamorous, but again, 2 disruptions, protection with Ammirage, and some big beefy birds on board. If your opponent is a heavy back row deck, luckily we did draw into Simorgh Repulsion, so we could bounce on the back row. It is kind of helpful there, but that's pretty much it. The deck has some glaring weaknesses, but it does offer a decent board, and if you side deck the right cards or main deck, you can lock out your opponent completely with Featherstorm, Anti-Spell Fragrance, and so on. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any comments or questions or anything, please leave it below.